So we understand why we need to manage up. We need to manage up because our bosses matter. Having a great relationship, a productive and positive relationship with our bosses is going to help us create career success for us, for our organization, and for them. So let's talk a little bit about how we're going to go about doing this. It's actually a very simple three-step process, but like many things that are simple, it's not always easy to do in real life. So let me walk you through it. Number one, you're going to take a look and really pay attention to who your boss really is. Not who you wish they were, not who you think they should be, but who they really are. How do they really operate? What are their preferences, their priorities, their pet peeves? And when you're paying attention to who your boss really is, I want you to learn but not judge. Because once we start judging people, once we start criticizing people, we're going to get trapped in our lower negative emotions. We're going to get trapped by our amygdala, our reptile brain. And once we're in that place, we're no longer very good at being strategic. Our executive function decreases. So don't judge who your boss is. Pay attention, really notice. That's step one. Step two is then you are going to pay attention and notice who you really are. How do you show up in the workplace? What are your preferences, your priorities, your pet peeves? What's it like to work with you? And while I don't want you to judge yourself either, I want you to be honest with yourself. How do you really show up? Not how you wish you showed up, but how do you really show up? Now, once you have a good sense about who your boss is and who you are, you get to assess the gap. Where are you alike? Where are you different? And in this gap, you get to choose. You get to choose in what ways you might want to adapt to your boss's style, in what ways you might want to meet them halfway. Because remember, we can't change them. We can't control them. We can make requests, but we cannot dictate how they interact. So your power comes from your ability to adapt, your ability to be flexible, your ability to work with people who work differently than you, even when they're annoying. So putting together the piece of the puzzle that is the person can be kind of complex. I'm going to give you 6 areas to take a look at. 1, look at their communication style. Communication is the lifeblood of relationships. So pay attention to how they communicate, whether they're introverts or extroverts, whether they like verbal communication or written communication, whether they're really wordy or verbose or very succinct. Next, I want you to pay attention to work style. How do they operate? Are they collaborative, meaning they want to work with you, or are they more independent, meaning they want you to do your thing while they do their thing? Are they innovative people? Do they make fast decisions? Or are they more slow and methodical and more risk averse? Really pay attention to that. Are they detail oriented or big picture? Pay attention to how they actually get the work done. The third areas to look at is their time orientation and their pace. Are they fast-paced? Are they impatient? Or are they more moderate-paced and more slow? Do they think time is fleeting and they're hyper-punctual? Or is punctuality just a concept that they're trying to figure out? Another area I want you to look at is whether they orient themselves towards relationships or towards task. A task-oriented boss is going to be very task-driven. Where's that Penske project? They'll say as they walk into your office. And you'll think, well, good morning to you too. A relationship-oriented boss is going to want to get to know you as a person. They're going to chit-chat with you. They're going to ask you about your weekend. And you're going to think, oh my gosh, can't we get to the point? The fifth area I want you to look at is goals and priorities. And this is a place where I have seen in the last 20 years working with teams and leaders that people tend to get really judgmental about other people. So do not judge what your boss wants. Do not judge his, her, or their goals or priorities. Learn what they are. For example, what are they trying to accomplish in their career? What are they trying to accomplish for their team? What do they prioritize? What's most important to them? Even if you disagree with it, this is a very important piece of the puzzle. You don't have to agree with what their goals are or agree with what priorities are, but you need to know what they are so you can acclimate yourself accordingly. The sixth and final area to look at is the culture and climate of your organization. Organizational systems have a lot of influence on how people behave within that system. So put your antenna up to really figure that out. What is the culture of your organization? What does it reward? What does it encourage? What does it discourage? Who gets promoted? Why do they get promoted? These are important elements. What does your boss's boss care about? What does your boss's boss care about? What's going on in your industry? What are the concerns of your industry? Paying close attention to these factors of your organization will help give you some understanding of how your boss operates. It's as simple as that. Pay attention to who your boss is, who they really are, figure out who you are, who you really are, and then you get to choose in what ways you want to adapt. When we make productive and positive relationships with our bosses happen, good things come our way. When we don't, opportunities may pass us by. So to manage your career, you've got to manage yourself and manage your relationships, especially the ones with your boss. Good luck.